Welcome back, everybody, to Crime and Plastic. How are you doing?
Fantastic, Rosie. How are you?
I'm good. We just did, Santina and I did a Pilates class today. What did you think of it?
I thought our teacher was low vibrational, but apparently I overused that phrase.
Is it the place down the block?
No.
No,
Oh,
We went to a place in Edgewater.
okay.
can't say the name because I just called her low vibrational.
Fine.
And yeah, it was, I mean, the workout was hard, but I've been to better Pilates classes, right?
Me too.
Great.
She didn't. Again, we were just talking about 7 a.m. workouts or like early morning workouts. You need to be inspired.
High energy.
She didn't inspire me.
Well, that's too bad. Better luck tomorrow. You going back?
No.
I don't think so.
Oh.
I mean, definitely, they have different teachers. So I've done this place before and it's been better. So I think maybe with a different teacher. We're just also kind of bummed because our CrossFit coach left.
Our queen, Amanda.
Yeah. Amanda, come back.
You're bummed for your bums.
Yes.
Got him.
Well, all right, doctor.
I thought you were going to hire somebody just a special bum trainer.
Yeah, that's her.
That's
Oh.
her.
So
Okay.
we still work out with her like to do that,
Uh-huh.
but like our regular classes that we go to every morning, she doesn't teach anymore.
And you don't like that.
I don't like
So
it.
you got to find a replacement. That's what the Pilates was about.
Yeah.
I get it now.
Wait.
Mhm.
I want to add that I recently became a listener of our podcast.
And what do you think, Santina?
It's good.
how are
We've
we
gotten
doing?
so much better. Like, I listen to them like, okay, because recently I've been like hating driving. Like, I need to be distracted, and the only thing that distracts me is other people's conversations. So, and then I started playing our podcast, and I'm like, oh wow, like it's good.
Except I interrupt too much.
No, I mean, you do, but it's not as bad nearly. I think what threw me off at first, which is why I haven't always been a listener, is because after the first 2 episodes, I wanted to rip your head from your body.
Hmm.
I wanted to make you into an episode of Crime and Plastic. So then I was like, okay, I need to stop because I need to show up to work and all these things. So I stopped listening, but now we're great. Since Megan, shout out to Megan,
Yay, Megan.
she just cuts right through all your BS. It's amazing.
Sorry, Megan.
It's so nice to see the final cut because before I was like, oh yeah, I'm in the room. Why the fuck do I need to hear it again? Like I was there.
You're saying that I sometimes repeat things.
No, I'm saying like I never listened to the podcast. I'm like, oh, I was in the
Oh,
room.
I see. You don't listen to it because you were there. I thought you were still digging at me for repeating things.
Oh, I'm not done.
Oh.
So when I listen to it back, I'm like, oh wow, this is so much nicer when someone
Edits it.
Augie makes
Because I
like
finish your sentences.
yeah.
Interrupt you.
When someone goes virtually and just makes you not there,
Erases the men from the room.
it almost replaces my original memory of the conversations. It's kind of therapeutic.
Well, thank you, Megan, for
What was that movie?
your service.
Total Recall. You just like Total Recall. Just erase the
She
whole.
literally reprograms my mind.
Reprograms
It's
everything.
amazing. I wish you could do that with all my conversations.
Okay. Crime and plastic news. Don't do that anymore
No.
because you put in the music.
We're gonna say this is gonna be said every single week.
Okay.
You put in the music, Megan?
You
Do you
that?
put it in?
Okay. This week in crime and plastic news. Man who posed as plastic surgeon for BBL breast augmentations in Del Mar pleads guilty to battery. Where's Del Mar? Is that California?
Yeah, San Diego.
San Diego, California. Dario Moscoso was charged with consulting female patients at the now shuttered Del Mar Cosmetic Contouring Center regarding procedures such as Brazilian butt lifts and breast augmentations despite not being licensed to practice medicine. Apparently this dude kind of owned the place. It was like kind of a
Was he
clinic owner, not a doctor.
Was he a doctor from another country?
No, doesn't say that at all. And he would just go into the rooms and fondle women, measure women's breasts, butts, whatever, and make recommendations, almost like a consultation. So he pled guilty to felony counts of treating the sick and afflicted without a certificate and using terms and letters falsely indicating the right to practice medicine and sexual battery. So he remains out of custody and faces a maximum possible penalty of 5 years in state prison, which is sentencing set for next month. Okay. Earlier this year at that same clinic, the plastic surgeon, Gerald Schneider, surrendered his medical license following allegations that included the fact that he let this guy, Moscoso, see patients. So, yeah, that
Wow.
do make sure the person that is you're consulting with is an actual doctor before you take your clothes off, men and women.
Wow, that's fucked up.
Yes, it is. It may be worthy of an episode if we have more details.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. So you just wanted to see naked women? I mean,
No, I
Could it-
think I don't, you know, from the sound of the article and the position that he had at the clinic, I think he was just trying to move the business along. Like I feel like he didn't like the plastic surgeon wasn't available. I think he was a part owner in the clinic or something, and just was like, okay, let's see the consultations. Come on, I can do this. Breast augmentation.
I mean,
BBL.
that would make sense if there wasn't a sexual battery.
Well, it's sexual battery because you're not allowed to like touch someone else's body without their permission. If you do that under false pretenses, it's sexual battery.
that's true.
It is, right?
That is.
Like if I say, "Oh, there's a fly on your butt," and I grab your butt, and there's no fly there, sexual battery. What if there is a fly there?
But I think there has to be is there no intention?
No, battery is an intentional crime, but he intended to do
He intended to touch.
It just a false consent that they gave made it a
Correct.
battery.
Correct. You cannot convince
Battery is
someone
just
to take
touching
their,
somebody.
Yeah.
You can't convince somebody to take their clothes off under false pretenses.
I know that
touch
battery is
them.
when you touch someone because at the law firm, colloquially, if someone hits you, you're like, "Ah, you just assaulted me," right? Like that's what you'll say.
No,
like,
it's battery.
but it's battery.
Assault
So
is
then-
just like going in your face and be like,
right,
Assault is putting the fear of a battery.
right.
right.
But that's not like late
Yeah,
people
I
don't
know.
think that. Like
right,
first of all, when do you hear the word battery unless it's like really bad?
right,
It's usually together, assault and battery.
right,
Yeah.
But yeah,
but
I
usually you hear like, "Oh, she assaulted me,"
right.
you know. So and then if you ever use the word improperly
And a
because
law firm.
at a law firm with a bunch of dickheads, you'd be like, "It's actually battery." I'm like, it's about to be both. Like you throw a water bottle. I've just been battered. You're a 6'3" man. Shut the fuck up. Okay.
Rant ended. All right. Well, thank you for that news minute. And we're going to turn things over to San Rizzle because she has our story. This developing story that's been developing since March. So she's going to get into it. And I think we're going to probably update this continuously throughout the year as more things happen because it's a case that's ongoing.
It's one of my favorite cases ever.
Okay, that's like a controversial take. But honestly, this episode is going to be quite collaborative because this man, we've mentioned him like a million times already. The Dr. Rosie have personally met him. We're talking about Tom Kozowski, the Tampa Bay, Dr. Tampa Bay.
Rosie partied with him.
Oh,
I'm pretty sure I named him Dr. Tampa Bay too.
Wow. Yeah.
so Dr. Tampa Bay, if you haven't listened to our previous episodes, you've never heard of him, Tom Kozowski is a plastic surgeon who was in a civil dispute and he killed,
Allegedly.
allegedly, the opposing attorney. So at some point in the lawsuit, he decided to represent himself and he killed the opposing attorney, his OC.
More details, please.
So first, I think we should start off with how you guys know him, because that's really what makes him relevant to us.
Well,
And
let's begin with sort of a disclaimer.
Okay.
If he hears this podcast, I don't agree with anything anybody's ever said bad about you, including the stuff that may come out of my mouth in my voice during this podcast.
Yes.
You're a great guy, especially if you get acquitted and or released from prison at any point in the future. Do not put my name on your list. You know, a list that people have when they get out.
Right.
Okay. What I'm about to say is purely for the entertainment of
Our
people,
audience.
Our audience.
Okay, so without further ado,
Oh, and if he gets a death penalty, everything was real. Okay, no, just kidding. No, just kidding. Kidding.
Okay. So I think we met Dr. Kozowski it was around 2017. He was actually introduced to us from another doctor that we knew who worked with him in Orlando.
Right.
And so and then Dr. Kozowski, he wanted to, like, Dr. Miami was becoming popular on social media and all of that. So he wanted to come and see, kind of just like a lot of doctors used to come to our office to see like what we did, how we did things, so they could learn. He was a new, I mean, he was just like starting out his practice or working for this other practice. So he came, hung out here for a day or two with his staff. Doctor saw some of his work. I think he did. You always say he did really good breasts.
Yes, I remember that he liked to do breast surgery.
Yeah.
And when doctors come visit, they always we show off each other's best work,
Right.
And he showed me his breast work, and I thought it was great.
Right. So, and then after that, he would call if he had a question about surgery, about social media, things like that. And then the end of maybe the summer 2017 or later that year 2017, we had a party with some doctors. I mean,
More than a party, it was like a weekend.
it was like a weekend retreat kind of thing with some of our doctor friends from all over the country, and he came and spent the weekend with us. And
did he party hard?
Not that I particularly paid attention to or knew about. And then also in 2016, 2017, we were filming the Dr. Miami show for WeTV, and one of the stars of the show, Adam Barda, who's a good friend of ours, somehow also became friendly with Tom. I don't really know if we introduced him or he. I don't know. I think he must have known him through us.
I would imagine so, but maybe not because he lives.
Yeah.
Adam moved from like New Jersey or whatever.
Adam did an interview with a news station. He was interviewed as Tom's best friend, and
so yeah, maybe they became friends like not through us, but it was around. He said that they did. He met
not through you guys. He said that they met through social media.
Okay, so but probably.
Yeah, probably by you. He just didn't want to out you guys.
Yeah, no, it just maybe not, but coincidentally, Adam is a really good friend of ours, and he became really good friends with Tom. I mean, we never really had a close relationship with Tom. It was very, just those meetings. Just those meetings that we would see him, and then I used to go to a lot of plastic surgery conferences because I used to like speak at a lot of them and try to network with other doctors. Dr. Miami also went to a lot of conferences and would speak and, network with other doctors. So we used to see him around, the plastic surgery world is not that big that you don't like run into people. And especially he's in Florida. We're in Florida. So, so we knew him. And then, like in March, Dr. Miami sends me a text message with a screenshot of an article and like a mugshot. And I looked at it. I was like, I know that guy. I was like, where do I know him from? Because I haven't spoken to him since 2017, 2018, the latest. So it's been like 5 years. And then I read the article and I saw it was Tom. It was pretty shocking that what he's accused of doing.
The interesting thing is just a few weeks before we decided to do a podcast called Crime and Plastic.
That's true too.
Like we had just been kicking around ideas for podcasts. Oh, should we do like a celebrity plastic surgery podcast? We didn't know, everybody's done that before. And we really love true crime podcasts. So we're like, let's just do a crime and plastic podcast. There's so many stories about crime related to plastic surgeons. Either they commit the crimes or committed to them, whatever. And then boom, like 2 weeks later, Tom gets arrested for murdering his, the opposing counsel attorney in a civil suit that he was in when he was suing another plastic surgeon. It was the craziest story ever.
Right. So, part of the reason we have this podcast is because of Tom.
No, we already were gonna do the podcast, but that was like we need to do this podcast.
Yeah. We had decided to do it, but then the thing with Tom happened, and we're like, it like solidified our commitment to this podcast.
Also, at this point, the case is like ongoing, but there is like, I'm like fascinated. So I like live on the court docket. Like I'm looking at everything they file. Like yesterday, I read like the transcripts of a proceeding that happened. It was like 250 pages, like
Whoa.
four testimonies. I'm like,
Santino loves the tea.
I love the tea. The best thing about working at the law firm was the fucking tea. Like every day I was like in people's business. Like,
All public record.
yeah,
Yes.
that's a nice thing. And in other states, it's a little harder to get that kind of information. But in Florida, it's like,
It's the Sunshine State.
it's
Yes.
too easy. Like they file everything and it's all there. So
Yeah, actually, the Delmar case that you just talked about, I couldn't get the documents from California.
yeah,
Not
California's
so
more
much.
locked
Not
up.
so much sunshine. In this state.
They do have a lot of sunshine.
No, but
But-
not sunshine laws.
Yes, no, not
like
sunshine.
we have
laws.
like the most transparent sunshine laws.
Yeah.
Anyway, so let's talk about Tom, where he came from, how.
By the way, once I saw the mugshot and read the story, I went back through my phone and started getting all the any video I had with me and him together. I started looking through and trying to look for hints of like psychosis or signs that he could snap or
No, because what he did was literally fucking allegedly, whatever.
uh,
I believe he did it. Sorry, Tom. Diabolical.
right.
Okay, so just to let you know, like our connection to Tom, and maybe go through
Let me tell you. Let me.
exactly what he's accused of,
No,
how
I'll
it went
I'll-
down.
I got the whole. I got.
She got the tea.
I got everything. Tom Roman Kozowski was
Ro-
born on
Roman.
Like from Succession.
Yes. He was born on January 8th, 1979 in Poland. This is important later. He's not from here. And actually the country he's from is even more important.
Okay.
So when he was 2 years old, his parents sought refuge in Berlin, Germany, because there was some conflict erupting in Poland at the time. So he lived in Berlin for around 5 more years. And around the age of 7, they moved to the United States.
So, question. Was there any details about that? Because Poland was a communist country in the 70s. So Germany also was a communist country, except for the West Germany. Where'd they end up in Berlin? The east side or the west side?
I don't
Guess
know.
West, no.
I
They
would
were fleeing
imagine
Poland.
west, but how'd they manage to?
Who
That
knows?
wasn't easy to do.
Tom's origin, like, let's not give this guy, like, who cares? Fuck that.
You don't know his origin story.
He literally sucks. Anyway, sorry, Tom.
Okay,
Sorry,
born in
Tom.
Poland, they seek refuge in.
You
Whatever.
don't really have a Polish accent or any
No,
accent.
No,
No.
because he
Yeah.
was in the United States by the time he was 7.
Mhm.
Right.
So he
Okay.
spent his early childhood years in the greater Kansas City area.
Okay.
He ended up moving eventually to Albuquerque, New Mexico,
Uh-huh.
and he spent the latter half of his childhood there. And that's where he attended high school, graduated, da da da. After high school, he attended college at the University of New Mexico. He stayed in New Mexico. That's where he earned a bachelor's degree in music.
Really?
Guys, why are all these crazy ass people doing music?
I don't know.
Like, who else did music? Was it Hitler?
No,
Or
the
he did
guy.
art.
Remember the guy who poisoned his wife?
Yes.
He
John-
had a
Yes.
music room.
Yes,
he was
yes,
like
yes.
into music.
John
Yeah.
No,
Hill.
but a lot of them do music.
John
There's
Hill.
another one who like got rejected
No,
from music.
Hitler was a
Ted-
painter,
Ted-
not a musician.
Ted Bundy got rejected from music school. I
Oh.
think what it was.
Maybe.
And the
that's-
cult leader guy was a ballet musician
Yes.
dude.
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
So whatever. He got a bachelor's degree in music, a bachelor's degree in biochem, so I guess he double majored, and then he got a master's degree in biomedical science.
Huh.
He eventually moved to New England, where he attended medical school at the prestigious Dartmouth.
Yeah, it's an Ivy League school.
Right. He attended the Tuck School of Business also during his time at Dartmouth. So he got a business degree while also going to medical school.
They must have sold a lot of Tux medicated wipes to name a medical school after them.
I don't know. So he ended up graduating Dartmouth in
That's
2007.
a hemorrhoid joke. Sorry. You can cut that out.
Cut that. Shout out
She's
to
like,
Meg-
I was going to cut it out. You
Shout
have
out to
tell me.
Megan. Okay, so this is all, mind you, all this information is like in his court documents because his defense is trying to like humanize him, whatever. He graduated from Dartmouth College in 2007. He had like I said, the Doctor of Medicine and then an MBA in business.
Does it mention that he was valedictorian, which he was?
It doesn't say that.
Well, he was,
How do you know that?
because it's in every other biography of him.
Yeah, but this is his defense team putting this out.
His defense team does not want you to know that he's a valedictorian, because then it shows just how freaking smart he is. He thinks he's the smartest in the class. He thinks he can outsmart the cops. He thinks he can get
The
away with it.
Dartmouth MBA and MD at the same time didn't show that.
No, but that's factual. It's not a judgment. The valedictorian is like puts you in another level.
He was valedictorian in undergrad?
Medical school.
Medical school? Wow.
I don't know.
That's not easy to do.
His defense team.
It's not easy to do
I'm not even
in
sure.
high school.
It's hella hard in a Ivy League medical school. You have to be like super gunner, Rosie. You know what that means? A gunner?
Yes.
Like a gunner is the kid who like goes to the library and the only copy of the book that everybody needs, he'll pull out the page.
Okay, we need to get through Tom's biography.
Sorry. Okay.
So we can get into his crime.
Yeah.
Okay, so then this is just for you, because I really don't give a fuck about how he's raised or what school he went to, whatever. He's like literally allegedly not a nice person. Okay, so he completed he did his surgical skills at Dartmouth Hitchcock Medical Center.
Great program.
That's where he completed his general surgery and as well as his plastic surgery residency program. And then in addition to residency, he completed a plastic surgery fellowship at Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center in New York.
Memorial Sloan Kettering. It's like the top cancer hospital in the world. One of the top.
Boo, he sucks.
I'm just saying, this is
he has a very good resume.
High-powered dude.
Right. But then like later when you hear the shit he did, it's like, maybe book smart.
Maybe he peaked in his 20s.
The Miami Breast Center, he as well did a fellowship there. And then
he did.
Mark Codner Plastic Surgery in Atlanta. So
wow, we worked with Codner.
yeah, I guess.
Who's Codner?
He's a big breast surgeon. I think he's dead or retired.
Well, he does good breasts. You always said
He
that.
does do good breasts. Tom does do good breasts.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll see how good he does them from jail.
He's part of the prison program.
Yeah, just until death row.
Let me see if Codner's still around.
Anyway, moving on. So now that you know this about Tom, while he was working in Tampa, he worked for this like plastic surgery center. And he ended up leaving and trying to open up his own practice, like make his own name, da-da-da.
So I think when we met him, he was working for this plastic surgery center that he left.
Yeah, and these centers typically have like several different doctors. Like it's almost like a, not to say factory, but pretty close. It's like
Yeah, he died in 2020, Mark Codner.
Thank you.
He was young.
Okay, can you pay attention to the story?
Sorry.
Okay, back to Tom Kozowski. He was working for a plastic surgery center that had several doctors. He decided to leave to open his own practice or to work for a different.
No, he wanted
center.
to open up his own practice.
Okay.
The issue is that something happened with his old practice and insurance forms. Like they weren't submitting them correctly. Like patients were like basically not completing their surgeries, or like there's a lot of disgruntled patients, something to do with insurance forms and like the handling of it. But that's like from the business aspect of the surgical center he worked for. So, but these patients, all they remembered was Tom. So when Tom opened his own plastic surgery practice, they went to his plastic surgery centers, his plastic surgery. They went to his Google and like spammed him with bad reviews.
Oh, wow.
But it was about, the surgery center. They were talking about like,
The billing.
Well, because wasn't it also like the place where he worked, he was doing breast reconstruction. So
Yes.
it's like they couldn't move on to the next stage unless the insurance like approved it and everything. So I can imagine that was very frustrating.
So he was triggered, and he was saying that like this was holding him back. It's the reason why his business wasn't taking off. So in 2019, he sues every fucking person involved with his old employer for negligence.
Right. Well, I explained it in one of the other podcasts, but when you do breast reconstruction, it's multiple steps.
Right.
It's usually not just one and done, one surgery. It's like 4 or 5 surgeries. Get the areola right, the nipple right, adjust this, nip tuck that.
So
and each separate stage requires another authorization from insurance. So it could take years or it could take months depending on how quickly their back office works in getting approval for the next step.
How much does it cost? Breast reconstruction
Talking about out of pocket?
out of pocket. Yeah, I'm saying if you didn't use insurance, how much is it?
Oh, like if it's a free flap or something, 50, 60,000.
Whoa, insurance pays that?
Sometimes
Wow,
over time, over 4 or 5 operations. Yeah.
wow.
Depends on the insurance.
Mm-hmm. So okay, so then he sues his
So
old employer.
He doesn't just sue his old employer. He sues like everyone top to bottom.
Like who?
Like he sues like his employer. He sues like the actual doctors who work there. He sues like the business people. He sues this one lady who's like in charge of billing. Her name is Jennifer Friend.
Right.
He sues like let's see.
So what? I don't. What's the cause of action? What negligence did they? Like I'm trying to figure
Maybe
out what.
not filing in a timely manner. Like
No, I get it. I just
Yeah.
but it's like a weird cause of action. You negligent
Well,
business practices, negligent.
yeah, I guess. I mean, if the paperwork sits on your desk an extra month and that pushes somebody's surgery back a month and
Yeah.
they get upset, I can see the chain of, I can connect the dots.
No,
kind of.
I can. I'm just curious how they like worded his complaint
I
against
didn't
them.
print out the thing.
The complaint?
Yeah.
It's okay, but I think we have the
Yeah, we
broad
got the
outline.
idea.
It's
The
really
broad
it's really
outline,
not that
right?
important.
No, it's not.
The point is that there are 5 defendants. This law firm called Blanchard law firm represents 4 out of the 5. And then the one other defendant, her name is Jennifer Friend. She's represented by this guy named Jake Pillsbury.
Okay.
Okay, her original counsel, it's like such a side bit. Like her original counsel actually got like disbarred.
For what?
So her new counsel was like taking her case on as a favor to his friend who was the guy who got disbarred.
So Pillsbury, the Pillsbury Doe.
Pillsbury helped out his disbarred friend.
Yes.
And took on his
Jennifer
casework.
Friend.
Mm.
It's important because he ends up being like a witness to like all this animosity that goes on between
Right.
Tom and
Right.
Steve.
Why was she not included in the same law firm as the other 4 defendants?
I don't know. So, because I guess maybe he was personally suing her, and maybe she's not tied to that. I don't know.
Right.
what
Okay. Fine.
The logistics.
So
are.
she picked a lawyer who happened to get disbarred, and then
Whatever.
a
She's
friend of the disbarred. No, because it matters because this is how the guy who gets murdered gets involved, right? So it's this.
no. The guy who gets
No?
murdered. Okay.
It's part of Blanchard.
He's part of Blanchard.
Oh, it's not part of Pillsbury.
No.
Doughboy.
No.
Okay,
No.
Sorry.
So, what's it? Oh, fuck! I forgot the guy's first name.
Which guy's first name?
Jake.
Jake. Also Jake.
Is it? I don't know. Jake Blanchard, principal shareholder of Blanchard Law.
That makes sense.
I think it's him. Okay, so Blanchard represents 4 out of the 5 defendants in Tom's case,
Yes.
and Pillsbury represents one of them.
Yes.
Okay,
So
and we're in 2019 now,
we're in
and he
2019.
just sued.
Well, no. At this point,
He's okay.
okay, it's a little confusing because both of the attorneys defending the defendant are named Jake.
Okay,
There's Jake Pillsbury and there's Jake Blanchard. So Jake Blanchard owns this law firm. It's like really small, and he has one associate working for him. His name is Steve Causey. So Jake gives Steve this case with Tom,
mm-hmm.
and he makes him like head of the case. So all the documents are signed by Jake Blanchard, but it's Steve working on these cases.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So within the first year of the case, Tom has a lawyer. He hired someone, whatever. He doesn't like him. So he gets another lawyer. He doesn't like that lawyer.
Mm.
By like a year and a half into this lawsuit, he decides to go pro se, which means he's defending himself.
You know what they say about the lawyer that uses himself as a how does it go?
Has a fool for a client.
Yeah, but how's it go? Say it the whole thing.
A lawyer that represents himself as a fool for a client.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Right. The thing is that
And a client that represents himself as a fool for a lawyer.
yes,
True.
that's
I
probably
think Tom needed another fellow valedictorian lawyer to help him out.
so for how intelligent he is, whatever valedictorian.
Blah, 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 valedictorian Ivy League.
He does not practice the law. The law is like super duper fucking specific. It's very procedural. Like it's like if you know, you know.
Right.
It was also,
Okay, now.
it was also before ChatGPT could write briefs for you.
Right. Or explain to you
If
civil
only if he
procedure.
would have started this
Steve
lawsuit.
Causey might be alive today if he had ChatGPT.
Yeah.
This
So-
episode sponsored by ChatGPT.
And Crocs. Best Crocs are Crocs.
So, at first it's like really. So Steve is doing most of the communicating with Tom because he represents 4 out of the 5 defendants, and Tom is representing himself. So, the issue with representing yourself when you don't know fucking jack shit is that nothing you're doing is correct, and it's like a huge waste of time because you're filing motions, and then you're asking for them to be heard. And then you have them heard, and the judge is like, what the fuck is this? Like, I've never seen anything like this in my life.
Why is it in crayon?
And then you're getting mad because to you, it makes, like, it's reasonable in your mind, but it's not correct.
It's not
Yeah.
procedural.
Well, there's
Yeah.
like certain format that you have to follow,
Right.
like with all legal documents. So you have to write things a certain way and like put facts first and then conclusions of law. Like it has to go. It can't. It's not like just a regular paper that you write.
When you submit a paper to a journal,
Right.
there's like you have the abstract and you have
Right.
the summary, the
Right.
methods
Right.
and
exactly.
conclusions and all that stuff.
Right.
And he just kind of wrote like a mishmash.
I guess.
Well, another thing,
Or-
like, he was asking for things that, like, you just don't get. Like, he was requesting, like, documents, and you have, like, the other counsel has the right to object to your request.
Uh-huh.
And he wasn't getting that. So he kept filing for, like motions for sanctions against Steve because he's like, Steve is not producing them. And Steve is like, I've produced all I can produce. If you want to file, if you want to file like an objection to my objection, like then we can have that heard, but you can't just keep filing motions for sanctions against me. So whatever. They go like a lot back, like Steve and the other guy, Jake Pillsbury, were like, this guy is just like not a lawyer, and it felt like a big waste of time for everyone involved. But according to Jake Pillsbury, the other counsel for defense, he said that the judge gave Tom so much leeway, like more leeway he had ever seen in his entire career,
Oh, wow.
because the court has to be
Extra nice to pro se clients.
right, because
Oh,
again,
yeah?
you don't know. They have to, yeah.
Probably because they don't want to like lose on appeal or say that they blah blah blah, so they'll get overturned and things like that.
Interesting.
So
Now, side note here. A lot of times, like bigger companies will sue smaller companies or smaller people, and because the small company can't afford the lawyer fees to represent, and then the big companies kind of drags it out over years until the small company's broke. Is it possible Tom was trying to do that like in reverse? Like, I'll represent myself. My legal fees are zero. It's just my time, and I'll just file ridiculous things, and just every time that Steve has to respond to Tom's ridiculous motion, it costs the other client money.
No, because okay,
but he was the plaintiff. He's the one who wanted he wanted the money from them.
I understand, but still, again, it's like
Yeah,
it's
maybe.
like judo.
I don't think it's that at all, because
I'm trying to think how this valedictorian, like, what was his MO? What was his end game?
he's fucking unhinged. That's like literally what it is. Even now in the criminal case that he's
In the death row?
he's fucking like
trial.
hired 3 different law firms. Like, he's just whatever.
We'll
dig-
get,
I mean-
we'll get to there.
I
We'll
dig-
get there.
At least he's not representing himself
you don't ever know. This is how it all started
with death on
the
the
other one.
line.
Yeah.
So anyway, so he would get, there was all these like little tit for tats. He kept filing motions for sanctions. At one point, he filed a motion to remove Steve Causey as counsel for the defense.
Can you do that?
You
Yeah, you
can
can.
if there are real reasons.
What would be like a reason?
He said that he wasn't following like professional standards or some shit like that.
Or there could be a bias, like, or something.
I'm saying that's what Tom said about Steve.
Yeah, no,
Got
I'm
it.
just saying other reasons why someone could be asked
But-
to be removed.
Ironically,
Give me a for instance. I'm trying to see like how could I
In the OJ
demand that you use a different lawyer because of some bias?
in the OJ case,
Well, he found
the
out
judge,
that that lawyer was tampering with the jury.
Okay, fine, that's against the law. Or sleeping with the judge. Let's
Yes,
say.
or sleeping
Okay, that
with the
makes
judge.
sense. Okay.
I was gonna say in the OJ case, the judge had to be removed, didn't he, or something?
Yeah,
like that?
judges that could be recused. He's saying like, why? How could you ask tell the
You're a-
opposing party that they have to pick a new lawyer?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that seems. Everybody would. That seems
You're
like-
too good.
I mean, like,
Sorry.
yeah.
Guys, I literally have to pee so bad.
Okay.
Okay.
What was I even saying?
Oh, you were talking about their tit for tat, and he tried to get Steve Causey removed from the case.
Yeah,
And
Okay, so yeah.
so there was a lot of animosity between Steve and Tom during this whole legal battle.
The thing is that it was all one-sided. Like Steve, according to everyone who like bore witness, like his boss Jake Blanchard and the other co-counsel Jake Pillsbury, they were like, Steve kept it really professional. Like he never said anything crazy to Tom. He was very like patient with him. Naturally, I mean, it's annoying, but he wasn't like ever unprofessional or rude in any way.
Okay.
So this is all important, like these like steps in the case, because it brings us to March 21st. So Tom is filing all these like crazy ass motions that have no
Legal bearing,
Right.
relevant, standing.
correct.
Waste of paper.
And
Yeah.
he's like desperate to have these motions heard and be ruled on. So eventually they all settle on March 21st to have them heard. Also, previously, this is just like another tidbit that gets brought up a lot in the case. Like some months before March in 2021, or maybe it was even 2020, late 2020,
Mm-hmm.
Tom was deposing just like a witness, right? And according to Jake Pillsbury and Jake Blanchard, this witness was like so fucking irrelevant to the case. And he was hammering her. Like the questions he was asking were like he just kept asking the same question over and over and over. Jake Pillsbury and Steve Causey kept objecting to the question. Then he would segue to like a different question and then go back to the same thing. They had to take several breaks. And this deposition happened in person at Steve Causey and Jake Blanchard's law firm, like this their law office, because they had like a shared space that they could all sit down. But Jake Pillsbury wasn't physically there; he was there over Zoom. So
Do you know what the question he was trying to get answered
no,
was?
they didn't. They
put
didn't
that.
say.
Okay.
They didn't say. But it was like they said it was such an irrelevant witness to the case. Like, so whatever.
Do you take sugar in your coffee?
Like, and then he was asking her things that, like, you just can't ask in a deposition. Like, again, like procedurally.
What's your bra size?
Procedurally?
Objection.
So they just kept objecting.
What can't you ask in it?
Objection.
Like, what can't you ask in it? I want to know.
Well,
when you decide
things that are irrelevant, the same objections you have in a trial, you have the same objections when you do a deposition.
Oh.
Relevant, standing,
Like the Johnny Depp Amber
yes,
Heard trial?
Yes,
I got
a
it.
deposition is a testimony like anything else.
but
It
there's
is.
also like sometimes if you don't want like sometimes before deposition a law firm will file like a motion for a protective order, and they'll say like you can't ask this amount of questions, and before
I mean, you can't ask this.
like they'll say
these questions you
we're
can't
motioning for like to not ask these questions.
ask. You can ask that?
Yeah,
because then
you
a
have to-
judge has to rule on it after.
so then the judge will hear both arguments, like, oh, can this person A even be deposed? Like, is it
Right.
in the bounds for them to be deposed? And if they are, what can we ask? They have an order. So I don't know. I didn't really look. There might have been some like MPOs there. And so he was just asking
What's
questions.
an MPO?
A motion for protective order.
Okay.
So there was just like a lot of questions that they were just objecting to. And apparently it was making him really mad. So at one point they took a break because everyone needed it. And Steve went to the bathroom and Tom followed him and apparently told him like, you're a scumbag just like your client. So and then they both came back to the deposition and Steve texted his boss like, this guy just called me a scumbag in the bathroom, and apparently he had done that so that it would be like on the record.
Right.
That's
Smart.
That's later what his boss Jake Blanchard said.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so like I said, Tom was filing all these motions. He was desperate for them to be heard, so they finally set a hearing to have all of these heard on March 21st at 11 a.m.
Okay.
This year, 2023.
Yes.
Wow.
Did I say 2021?
Yeah.
I meant to say 2023.
Okay.
And that depot happened, I guess, in 2022. Sorry, I fucked up the years.
And
It's
then
okay.
It's because
I'm actually learning a lot from this. I'm just a dopey doctor. I don't know much about the law and the procedural stuff and
she'll
the
watch
perspective.
Suits.
it's so good.
I should.
I do feel like Suits, though, you kind of have to like know things to understand sometimes.
Or Law and Order. You learn a lot on that.
Start with maybe LA law and move up to Law and Order.
Maybe.
So March 21st comes,
Okay.
and Steve Causey arrives to work around 10 a.m. or 9 a.m. Mind you, he had this hearing at 11 that he needed to attend, but now hearings are virtual because of COVID.
Uh-huh.
So they weren't virtual back when the lawsuit first happened, but now they are. So
Wait. Pause. The incident in the bathroom happened when?
A few months before this.
A
I don't
few
know.
months before.
it could have
this.
happened maybe even the year before. Who knows? It happened sometime during the lawsuit
Got it. Which was filed originally when?
in 2019.
Got it. So this is 2020.
But
almost 4 years.
But
this is going on.
to what Jake Pillsbury, the other co-counsel for the defense, he was saying that like originally when he first got onto the case, I think he came onto the case like in 2020 or 2021.
Mhm.
Steve Causey really wanted to settle the case. Like that was his objective. But every time they would go to Tom wanted like a global settlement that included even the fifth defendant,
Right.
which they couldn't bring. Like he wanted a settlement from each person, like in total, and that's just not how it works.
Can I ask how much money he was seeking?
I'm not 100% sure. I think at one point I looked and it was like 30 grand or something.
What?
Was I wrong?
No, I think
I think that's what it was in the complaint.
yeah. I think it was something not substantial.
It
Does
was
that make sense?
It makes no sense.
Does any of it?
Maybe I think maybe he wanted his employer to admit wrongdoing. I don't know.
Oh.
Clear
But-
his name.
Oh.
But I remember when I looked at the case, the civil lawsuits, they fall in a range of
Right.
like money, and it was in the mid-tier range, which I think is from like 15 to 50 or
Right. Okay.
60,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely seems worth settling rather than 4 years of legal battles.
Right.
But okay.
30 grand, that's like one breast reconstruction for him.
Okay. So March
21,
2023.
2023.
Okay.
Steve is at work.
Steve arrives at work early in the morning. Apparently, he's always early. Jake Blanchard, his boss, walks in later, sees him sitting down, typing, They exchange some words. Then Jake goes to his desk. At 11 a.m., or at around like 11:30 a.m., Jake Blanchard, his boss, texts Steve, "Did you go to the hearing?" It was a case management conference, whatever, it's a type of hearing. He's like, "Did you go to the hearing?" Because he had passed by his desk and he was gone. So he thought like maybe hearings are physically in person again. So
Uh-huh.
he texted him. He didn't answer. And when he went into his office, he saw that Steve's phone, wallet, car keys were still there. When he walked out of the building, Steve's car was still in the parking lot. And when he had looked at Steve's computer, Steve was like in the middle of typing an email. So Jake Blanchard's like, what the fuck happened to Steve? Like, where is he? So he starts checking the building. Eventually, he makes his way to the men's bathroom. When he gets to the bathroom, he says that he saw what looked like blood on the handle, on the outside handle. And then what scared him the most was that he walked in and all he could smell was bleach. And then when he looked, there was like specks of blood, but more than that, there was like the wall had been like discolored, but it resembled like someone like smearing bleach on a wall to remove something, like remove blood, presumably, because he also saw blood a little bit on the floor, on the toilet seat, and he was like, oh fuck, something's wrong. So he calls the police and he reports Steve missing, like right there and then.
Huh.
Okay.
Okay, so
Wait, question. Would that be the first thing you would do?
Call the police.
Like if you walked into a bathroom It smelled like bleach. Yeah, you saw a little bit of blood on the floor. Somebody had a bloody nose.
But no, he
The
said that.
cleaning crew was there, and they try to do a good job.
Well,
and would
here's
you
a-
immediately think?
I don't usually think the worst, so I don't
No,
know.
I didn't. I
I'm the
wouldn't.
wrong person to
The
ask.
Yeah.
thing is that, number one, there was only 2 businesses in that building.
Right.
It was Blanchard Law Firm, and
American bleaching.
no, it was like I think it was a pet, a vet, like a pet vet, whatever.
Okay.
And they used a separate bathroom.
so
They
this
had a
is just for these two guys.
this
basically.
bathroom was literally just for them,
Right.
and he didn't clean it.
Right. Okay.
And he's like, "And where the fuck did
Fine.
this smell of bleach come
Fine.
from?"
All right. That makes sense now. Okay.
Okay.
Good.
So he reports Steve missing, and also background, they like say in these testimonies that apparently Steve back in the day had a drinking issue. He was in recovery, actively in recovery.
Oh, the
And he
plot
had been for like the
thickens.
last decade.
Right.
So, and Jake Blanchard knew that. So he thought in his mind, like, he's like, I hope he's just kind of like on a bender, you know, like, I hope nothing bad has happened to him, that
Right.
maybe he left. But it was weird because he had just seen him that morning and they discussed cases, da da da. So Jake Blanchard talks to this lady who's like kind of like she's like, she worked for the pet people, but she's like a cleaning lady. She's responsible for cleaning the other bathroom. And when he talks to her, she says that, like, she doesn't say it right there and then, but she thinks it's weird. And then later on, you find out that that lady, a week prior on March 14th, she had walked into the breaker room and she found a man in casual clothing, like, in there in the dark. And she was like, what the fuck? And then she was like, what are you doing here? And he was like, oh, there was someone reported a power outage. So she chased him out of the building because she was like, you're fucking weird. And he got into a Toyota Tundra that she said had license plates from New Jersey. Then she started talking to this guy, like other people, and she called the owners of the building, and everyone was like, no, we didn't report a power outage. So she got scared and she filed a police report. Because she was like, who is this guy? And she also started
Wow.
she said that she maybe watches too much crime or something like that. She thought that he had planted a bomb somewhere
Right.
or like done something to the air, da da da.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow. That is a very suspicious person.
So when the
Yes.
police get there, she tells them, like, they start interviewing everyone who's in the building at the time. And she tells them about the incident a week before, da da da. And so they start checking surveillance cameras. And what they see is that a man showed up that same morning in a Toyota Tundra
With New Jersey plates.
with New Jersey plates at 8 a.m.
Hmm.
He was seen walking in with nothing in his hand and then walking out lugging a wagon. And he stops at 11 a.m. right in front of his car, and he seems to be on his phone for like 15 to 30 minutes, which is the time of the hearing. Then he gets into his car, and like the surveillance shows that like he's moving like a heavy object that kind of is like consistent with a body in a bag. Also, Steve is seen entering the building at 9 a.m. that morning and never again.
Never leaves the building.
They never saw him leave the building like from 9 to 11, like none of that.
Question.
Always.
How come on TV, when you call the police to file a missing persons report, they go,
You have to wait 24 hours.
how long has it been? Maybe he went to lunch. Maybe he had a sudden urge for Chick-fil-A and left the building. Like, why would they suddenly come and start doing this like thorough investigation, look at the tapes?
Well, because they
immediately?
saw blood.
Well, maybe he didn't report it as a missing person. Maybe he just said, I
No, they
found
reported
blood.
they reported as a missing person.
I don't know.
I'm
and-
just maybe because he's a lawyer, he had connections with the police department.
Maybe.
I mean, I don't know. I'm just
I don't
saying
know.
that on
Also-
TV they always tell you, yeah, they probably just got lost. Call us in 24 hours.
Also, when the police came, they asked him like, "Oh, is there anyone who would want to harm Steve?" And he said, "Not that I can think of." And then later on, the police said, "Are there maybe any other attorneys that Steve had an issue with?" And he was like, Tom Kozowski. That guy is fucking wild."
Right.
And so, long story short, it was Tom.
on the camera.
Allegedly.
on the camera.
Allegedly.
On the-
So
Tom was on the camera, and then so what did the police do next?
oh, I also forgot to say that that lady who reported the guy coming into the breaker room just a week prior, after the whole police report, she went into the breaker room with like 2 other people who works for the building, and she saw like a big box, and she was like, that box was never there before. So a guy named Todd took it down and opened it,
What was in it?
and when they opened it, it was a wagon, like a foldable wagon.
No.
And when the police came
Oh no.
on March 21st, and they examined the breaker room because like
No wagon.
there's no wagon.
I was gonna ask, how did he take the body out in a wagon if he didn't go in with a wagon?
He planted the
it
wagon.
before. Did they ever look at the surveillance from that week, the week before when he was found in the breaker room, or they didn't have that?
I don't know that they had that.
Maybe a lot of surveillance stuff like
tapes over
itself.
Okay.
Also, they ended up tracking like Tom had made a purchase on Amazon for 2 wagons, one to his Tampa house and the other one to his Miami house. And the police recovered the one from the Miami house and never recovered the one from the Tampa house.
I just ordered a wagon from Amazon yesterday because
I'm gonna check the breaker room. Be right back.
So when Jake Blanchard told the police, oh yeah, he has this issue with this guy, Tom Kozowski, they started to look into him. And they found that Tom, a month prior, had bought a Toyota Tundra for $26,000 and he never registered it.
Wow.
They also
planning this for a while.
That lady who, the thing that made that lady also file a police report on March 14th was that as she was chasing him out to the parking lot, she realized that she had actually already seen that man before that day.
Oh.
And it was like early one morning. She was the only one in the building. And she saw this man and he was peering into the law firm. And the lights were off of the firm. And she said to him, like, oh, I don't think that they open until 9. And anyway, they're appointment only.
Right.
And so when she like was chasing, it occurred to her that was the same guy. And she's like, oh, fuck. He was like staking the place. And I guess she does listen to a lot of true crime. So she filed a police report, which is crazy because I would not have filed a police report probably.
No. Who does that?
I would be like, I mean, like, that guy's weird, but I probably wouldn't file a police report.
But now, if you knew that the guy had been peering in before, then you see him inside the building, those 2 incidences maybe pushes you to file a police report.
I don't think so. I would just think like, oh, he's like a homeless guy or something like that.
Still, I'd be like, I
I
don't
don't
want to die.
But it's so good for the record.
Yes.
Like for the
Well, it's good for Steve. It's not great for Tom.
No.
It's not a good look for Tom.
no.
Okay, so what do they do? What do the police do now that
I
they
actually think that
investigate
they were able to identify Tom as the person on the surveillance
Right.
a week before.
Really?
But they weren't able to identify him as the man on surveillance March 21st because he was wearing like a hat and a mask.
Right.
Okay. So so they found that he bought a car that he didn't register a month before. What else did they find out about Tom?
They also found out that so they tracked his like phone. Oh, I have the probable cause right here.
Okay.
So they like triangulated his phone, like first leaving his house at like early in the morning, like, and then they found that he turned off his phone when he got onto the highway. And then he had to log on to the hearing.
Yes.
So when they triangulated his phone that morning at 11,
Where was it?
they said it was like literally looming over the parking lot.
Oh no.
Like his location was so close that it was looming over the Blanchard parking lot.
Right.
So
Which is where they found the figure standing
Yes.
for half an hour on their phone
Right.
and then get into the car.
With a body in the wagon.
Yes.
So when were the police doing all this? This was the same day or the next day?
No, they were doing that in like in the week.
Oh,
Like
okay.
as they were like interviewing people, they were like checking surveillances.
So they didn't arrest him like that day.
No, they
No.
ended up arresting him, I believe March 28th. So like another week later.
He really what was he doing all those days?
I'll tell you what they found him with. Also in his Google history, Oh my god, it's so bad.
How to kill Steve Kazi. Oh, let me get more specific. Best way to kill Steve Kazi.
No, but like they found in
What
his
was in
phone,
his-
they found in his phone photos of Steve and Steve's husband Michael's cars in their like building.
What?
Whoa, he
like-
was stalking them.
Whoa.
Like in the lot, like photos of the lot. He found videos of the Blanchard parking lot, which and the video included Steve's car. They found
Wow.
they
Wow.
found him Googling this what is it called? I can't even pronounce it anyway. It's like a sedative.
The sucks. The
Succinylcholine?
Yeah.
Yes.
is
Yeah.
that's what he.
Succinylcholine, it's not a sedative. It's a paralytic agent.
A paralytic, right.
It makes all the muscles in your body go weak, so you can't breathe.
Yes. So they found that in his search history, and then when they arrested him, they found that in his car as well.
Wow.
So he
When they
So
searched
so what
succinylcholine in his Google search.
Why would he have to search that?
Maybe dosage to kill an elephant or whatever, like
Mm.
proper dosage.
Wait.
I always Google meds when I'm prescribing.
oh also
Let me make sure I get it right.
also when he
So 5 days later decide to arrest him, and they sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Continue.
so the deposition has happened January 26th of 2023. So actually in the same year, just 2 months prior.
Oh, okay.
In the bathroom, not only did he call him a scumbag, but he told him he would win in the end.
Oh.
In loose words, he said that.
Ooh. I don't think he win in this one.
No.
Okay, so then what happened? What happened when they arrested him? What did they find? What else did they find?
They found the effects of succinylcholine.
Succinylcholine. They found the effects. What do you mean the effects?
Sorry. Okay, sorry. Let's start again. I was saying that they found that on his phone.
So yeah, but he googled.
Oh, he Googled effects of succinylcholine
Yes.
on his phone. That a doctor shouldn't have to Google.
Yeah.
That you know what the effects are. Yeah, you see it in the operating
hold
room.
on.
They use it in the operating room all the time.
Okay. So couldn't he have just taken some from his office? He
Yeah.
didn't have to order his own.
I'm sure he did take from his office.
Why would he? Whatever. I don't know why.
I guess he probably want to know that onset of action, like what the quickest paralytic agent is. I'm guessing that's what he would.
Gotcha. So they
Not that I would plan a murder, but
So they found. So this was all research before they arrested him. They got his like phone records, all of that.
Right.
And then they have the probable cause to
No.
arrest him
No, they got his phone records afterward.
after they arrested
The
him.
probable cause they had was
I mean, they need a probable cause to get a warrant to do all this.
I think they have enough with the video surveillance and the.
Yeah, they could have got his phone records
Yeah.
from that.
When you subpoena
Yeah,
phone records,
they
do you
got
also
the-
get Google records with that? Is that part of the same?
Yeah, you have to.
The
I guess it's part of the
probable-
subpoena.
the probable cause they had for all this was that they tracked, like through the surveillance cameras, they tracked when the Toyota Tundra arrived, when it left, the figure next to it, and then they found that car was his.
Right, got it.
So
That's plenty.
that's like the same with the Brian Kohlberger case
Yeah.
with the Idaho murders.
So where?
Right.
So where did they find him? Where did they arrest him? In his house? Like, what did they do?
They arrested him, I think, en route back to Tampa, because he had gone down to straight from the Blanchard law firm. He drove all the way to South Florida,
Mm.
and apparently he stopped. Let me tell you.
By
where.
the alligators.
Yeah, he was on like the 10 Miami Trail.
Ooh, yeah, that is by the alligators.
He stopped. Like the phone records show that he stopped there for a little bit and then left and went back to his Miami residence. And then the next day he showed up again to that same location. He stayed for 15 minutes and then he headed to.
Where was it?
I could find the.
No, I mean, like, what? Why was that important that he stopped there?
That's where he disposed of the body.
Oh,
Allegedly.
Well, allegedly. So whatever. They had dogs pick up like the scent on that specific, like where they pick up the trash. The dogs connected the scent to Steve Causey's DNA. And then
So he went to the middle of the Everglades to a trash disposal place?
it wasn't a trash disposal place. It was like where you could throw away trash. Like the garbage would
was
go
just-
by it.
Right.
right. It was just a garbage pickup
Yeah.
place.
And also the garbage men testified that what they smelled was quote unquote fucking vile,
Like a body
like a body. And
that's
then
been dead for a few days.
Why did he use the alligators? Wouldn't that have been better?
I think he probably was afraid he'd get eaten too.
Ah.
I mean, to feed somebody the alligators, you have to get.
it
close
was
to the
in the
alligators.
area of Loop Road and US 41 on the Tamiami Trail.
Hold on, I'm gonna Google map that right now.
Okay,
Give me
so
a
he
quick second.
So he dumped.
Say that again. Loop Road and what?
Loop Road
Uh-huh.
and US 41 on the Tamiami Trail.
And US 41.
Okay, so
The video from the garbage truck of the dumpster being emptied, because they didn't have him disposed. They just had his towers.
So they still don't have Steve's body, right?
They still don't have Steve's body. He's still missing.
Well, they're never. His body is disposed of.
So they said that.
So that trash got picked up and
So
whatever.
that trash got picked up, and there's video of that garbage truck dumping like the contents of the truck, and it showed a large garbage bag falling in a manner inconsistent with normal trash and consistent with being shaped and falling in a manner not inconsistent with a wrapped human body.
Okay.
Ooh.
And then where did that trash went to go get like compacted, burned, whatever
Yes,
happens
so
to trash?
That yeah, unfortunately, it was compacted in Collier County, and when they spoke to like employees at the waste management, they said that the landfill is compacted in approximately 1/3 of its normal size, so the recovery efforts are nearly impossible.
Oh wow.
Okay, guys, I fucked up slightly, a little bit with the dates. So, March 21st, Steve goes missing.
Okay.
A Toyota Tundra is found in the parking lot, like on surveillance, da-da-da. Okay. The Largo Police Department, by March 23rd, so 2 days later,
Mm-hmm.
had a search warrant on
Okay.
Tom.
They did it quick.
Quick. But Tom wasn't home. But when they got to his house, they found the Tundra in his garage.
Okay.
And inside of the Tundra, they found blood on the driver's side floorboard, and the garage floor.
Okay. That's very sus.
Yes. They also, so he was not home because he was still in Miami. Then on March 25th, so 4 days after Steve went missing and only 2 days after the search warrant, that's when they arrested Tom.
Got it. Okay. So the working hypothesis is that he took the body in the Tundra back home, switched it to a different Toyota
Yes.
Corolla.
So
or
he had
whatever
2
you
cars.
said.
He had the Toyota Tundra, which was the unregistered car that he bought for $26,000. And then he had his personal car, which is a Toyota Corolla. And so earlier I said that he drove straight from the law firm to Miami, but it's
didn't.
not true.
He must have made a pit stop
He
at
stopped home.
first.
Yeah.
And then, so when they arrested him on his way back to Tampa, what did they find in this car? When they arrested him,
They found a bag containing mask, a taser, brass knuckles, duct tape, intravenous sedatives, which was the paralyzing agent that I said.
sucks.
Yeah.
They call it sucks for short.
Succinylcholine. codeine. Yeah.
Yes. And I think
Okay.
they said they
So
found
why did he
more.
take his murder bag with him too?
Why didn't he dump that in the Everglades?
Yeah.
Was there money on him?
Well, no, I think that I don't know. Oh yeah, there was also money on him. No. I'm thinking about the body. Like he couldn't have cut it up.
Was there
Do you think he-
$250,000 cash?
Sorry.
Wait, stop. Okay, so they found
Phone
him in the
records.
car. They arrest him. They find the murder bag, and he gets taken to jail, indicted, and then
He pleaded not guilty.
he pled not guilty.
Which is crazy.
And then they said that they're going to seek the death penalty.
Yes.
Why didn't he get rid of the murder bag?
Tom
Wait, but what I was
is a
thinking,
mystery.
what I was thinking about is like, when did he cut up the body?
Well, I don't think he cut it up that much. I think he left it for the garbage compactors to do. I mean, they said that if the bag fell like a human body.
Yeah, but they said they found a bunch of blood, and if he just like injected him and maybe choked him out.
There might have been a struggle. It's not instantaneous.
So the police's theory is that he injected him with sucks and then he just stopped breathing.
Well, it's
No.
not instantaneous. There might have been a little bit of a struggle.
But
No.
a struggle to inject him. Once he injected him,
No,
how long
even after this.
how long does it take? Google the onset of sucks.
Maybe
Great.
that's what he
so
was Googling.
I'll get arrested. Let's see.
Well, also,
let's see. Onset of sucks.
the police believe that there was some sort of murder weapon involved
Succinal-
because of all the blood. So even though they didn't find a lot of blood physically there, when they like put the little light or whatever, they said there was a lot of blood loss.
So he could have injected him to paralyze him, then like stabbed him to death or something.
Yeah. Also, spoiler, whatever.
You wouldn't have to though. He would just stop breathing. Like you don't have
Maybe
to.
he wanted to take out his frustration on him.
Oh, like a
There was a lot of
passion.
blood, so he definitely did something. I'm pretty sure in one of the other reports, it said that on his Amazon, another one of his Amazon purchases was like a knife.
Oh.
2 to 3 minutes. When you inject it into a muscle, it's 2 to 3 minutes.
And then maybe like when he could have just like fallen and hit his head on a toilet. You bleed a lot from your head, right?
Yes, you do.
Yeah, they did say that there was a little bit of blood on the toilet, but I don't know.
So maybe he like injected him. He got paralyzed, fell, hit his head, and then started bleeding
But
everywhere.
also later, there's just like so much shit that comes out later
Okay.
once he's been like indicted and all
Okay.
this stuff. They have more testing.
So we're
Okay, so if you inject it under the skin, it could be 15 minutes.
thank you.
But if it's in the muscle, it's like 2 minutes.
I think
Okay.
he got the muscle.
We got it. All right, we're gonna leave you guys here. Tom Kozowski has been arrested and charged with first-degree murder, and the state of Florida is seeking the death penalty. We will be back in future episodes to let you know the updates as they come in. Okay? Have a great day, everybody. Thank you, Santina, for regaling us with this story of
There's
our.
just so much shit.
It's so close to home.
Yes,
it's
it's
so
very
close
it's
to
very
home.
close to home.
There's
It's
just
someone
so
we.
many.
I don't think I've ever met a murderer in person. That
I
I
have.
like a
I have.
accused murderer.
I've met 2 now.
I've met a convicted murderer.
Really?
Yeah, my neighbor. I think I
Oh,
told you about my
yeah,
neighbor.
you did. All right. Well, let's see how this plays out. I don't think it's looking so great for Tom, and
No.
I think he should get a plea deal. That's my
Legal
Non-
advice.
non-legal expert opinion. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back
And don't
next
forget
week.
Crocs. The best Crocs around are Crocs.